Okay, we're back with more Morgan Bentley. Morgan, first of all, the issue of letting the sheriff take his sheriff's office laptop home with him, and I know the reason he gave was because he had some pictures on there from the FBI Academy. You know, I've talked to a lot of people who just laugh hysterically at that. Why was he allowed to take that laptop home?
Well, remember, there was a transition period here. I mean, I think Sheriff Knight unfairly has taken some heat for that, but Sheriff Balkwill was attempting to be helpful as the transition was made. And Tom Knight was, by background, a highway patrol officer, did not come up through the sheriff's office. So it was very helpful to have Sheriff Balkwill there. And so that overlap went, a month or so,
right.
And then the computer came back, unfortunately, with a lot of files deleted and a thumb drive missing and a desk jet missing and an external hard drive missing.
So at the time, Sheriff Knight wasn't really concerned about there being anything on there that might come up during the lawsuit, anything along those lines?
No, we had already done all that discovery. Remember, every email that goes through that laptop has to go through the Sheriff's Department server. That discovery was done months and months ago. I'd say almost a year ago, probably. So, and in addition, also the AOL accounts and the Excite.com accounts, every external way of verifying something email-wise had already been subpoenaed and produced. The only thing that hadn't been done was to actually get the laptop to see if there was whatever else may be on there, and that's where, again, it seemed like almost non-event until it happened.
So you're saying that even though there were these deleted files, there's no way that there could have been any of the armor-related emails that they don't have?
Well, to be fair, no, I'm not saying that. Armor-related emails, yes, unless there's some other account that we don't know about with some other service provider. But anything else that was on there, no. I mean, if there was a document, for instance, that had been scanned in or created into the laptop, then no, we wouldn't have it, because that wouldn't have to run through the server.
Was a phone call made to Sheriff Balkwill saying, hey, we need this laptop and we're coming to get it tomorrow? I mean, how much advance notice did he have?
That's a good question. I'd say a couple of weeks. We got the order, if memory serves, something like the end of third week of January, maybe. We had the hearing. Took a couple of days to draft the order, and then it would have come out the following week. And then we set up the return right after that, and one of the sheriff's office employees initially went over and got the equipment. And we had no idea that it had been erased until a month later, when the forensic experts got done doing all the tests that they do. And
so Balkwill didn't say, hey, I erased some stuff on here when he gave it back?
No.
I read in the paper there was a quote from Knight saying that he was pretty outraged about that. What was he outraged about exactly? Do you know?
Well, I mean, for one thing, that it happened. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you don't expect to happen. Sheriff Knight's got a lot of things that he's doing at the sheriff's office, and this is the last distraction I think he needed. And also because it's so unnecessary. I mean, as I told you, the issue in our lawsuit is not that it's not that controversial. This is something that should be resolved in the courts in the ordinary course, and now we're off on this soap opera, really, of what's going on here. And it could change the outcome of that lawsuit, because now, as you know, we're going to get into spoliation questions, we're going to get into shifting burdens of proof, and if that happens, the whole game changes. This is no longer a typical lawsuit anymore, and I don't know how that's all going to come out. I'll be upfront with you, and this is all e-discovery, new territory. It's interesting that they can find so much on computers, but it also complicates things.
Last question on this whole issue, and that is, I also read that there's a criminal investigation. Who is doing that? And who is the target of the criminal investigation? Is it Sheriff Balkwill?
I don't know.
You're not involved in that?
I tell you, but I have to kill you. No, I really don't know. The sheriff does a very good job of keeping the criminal investigations internal. So I know it's going on. It's affected some of the things we do in discovery, but I'll find out when everyone else finds out.
Okay, let's talk about Art Nadel.
Sure.
How is it that you got involved in the whole Art Nadel situation?
Easy. We had this happened. The story broke on the Martin Luther King weekend. I came in on that Monday, and there were 19 client calls already, and so we already had 20 people involved. We put the word out locally to other folks, and boom, next thing you know, we had 48 people involved.
So you're representing actually the victims, or the so-called people who invested in him.
Absolutely, right.
What have you been able to learn about sort of how his whole business was set up and how it was designed? Because I've talked to some investment people, and they said when they heard a little bit about it and what they read about it, it was very irregular.
Yeah, that's a euphemism, isn't it? It was wildly irregular, and yet a lot of people put a lot of money into it, and
intelligent people, educated people.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and frankly, I always tell people, look, you can criticize investors if you want for doing something that might not have been, in your view, very smart. But when you've lost your life savings, it doesn't matter whether it was stolen or whether you made a bad decision or what the reason was. Some of these people are 80 years old and they don't have any money left. And that, I got to tell you, I can't even understand. I've talked to a lot of them. It's still hard for me to understand exactly what they're feeling. I mean, they're looking at their entire life savings, and I mean that, life savings, gone.
What sort of, give me an idea of the kind of people that we're talking about. Who are they? Are they mostly retirees? Are they doctors, lawyers? Are they people looking to get rich quick? Who are they?
No, that's the thing about it is the spin on this it's an intraday trading program. And so what Art Nadel would tell people is, look, we're in cash. We're 80% liquid every day at 4:30. He traded what's called the Qs, which is just basically if you're familiar with those kinds of things, is you get to sit there and watch it go up and down, and you can play whatever it was thought he could play to make money on these little changes that happen. And at the end of the day, you liquidate it out, you start up again the next day. And some days you win, some days you lose. Overall, you make money. And he probably did make money some years, but overall he did not. And that's how he did it. And just the thing is there were no internal controls, And so it's another case of affinity type fraud that's going on all over the country. We've got Haitian American, we've got Jewish American, we've got Korean American, we've got Native American in Oklahoma, affinity fraud cases, and there are dozens of them. And of course, you got Madoff and Stanford being the two really big ones out there.
All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, we're going to ask a couple more really important questions that I have based on reading the news accounts about the Nadel case.